Hey, greetings, everybody. This is Wesley Pepper. This is the Art Lexcia podcast. This is episode 95. Yeah, it's the first week of November, and it's been a crazy week, and I'll explain. Big up to Rene. She's our guest for today. To come to this is like seriously last minute. I thought of it this morning because it's been actually quite a crazy week. Like we had a recording nightmare again. Thanks, Telcom. Yeah, and then obviously I got broken into last week. Actually not last week, like 2 days ago. And they took all our shit. I mean, that's why you can see I'm not wearing headphones, the fucking laptop. Like they went to town. Like these pieces of shit actually came in here into an art studio, and they decided like they need my stuff more than them. So that just upset the old god like a lot. And Siza and I was talking yesterday about like the incidences and like the year being like a pretty heavy year for a lot of people. And like I've been actually getting quite a outcry on social media. So thanks to everybody. Actually, I actually don't know what to say. Um, Thank you a lot. And Baba Buntu, he sent me something really special. Like salute my king. Like I admire Baba Buntu too much actually. So go ahead, give me a call. So I respect that and thank you. It's like artists really understood the pain because I think we all know black pain pretty well. And you know, Caesar, we talk about this platform a lot, and we thought we'll just enter the conversation around that. That's why I brought in Renee. Renee is a very old, very old friend. She's an old friend of mine, all the way from East London. There, it's like it's a pretty nice part of the world. I was actually there early on this year, but not for fun,
Yeah.
for fucked up shit. And yeah, man, we actually I spoke to her, I think 2020. And we spoke
Yeah.
about motherhood and COVID and all that shit. And like she does a lot of, she's also creative and she does some cool stuff. And we're gonna be talking about that. We're talking more about the healing process. And Caesar, like even yourself, I know you as quite your year was also something. And the best part is not done yet. So maybe 2022 still got more tricks up its sleeve. I hope not.
Please
But
believe.
how have you been, man? And today, Caesar, you can start. Just like, I mean, I
Yeah,
know it's a
no.
fucked up week, so it's weird to ask how you've been after something.
No, thanks, Wes. And I'm sorry, man. It's not nice to have your space invaded. I don't care how poor people are because we're all hustling. It's just very unfortunate, and I'm sorry it's setting us back, but it's a crazy time. I also just buried my aunt. Yeah, it's a tricky time, and I think we are lucky, all of us, yeah, that at least we have art and poetry to take us back. Yesterday we had a reading, and that we almost cancelled because of ESCOM. We had a poetry reading that we have online, and I begged everybody. I'm like, I don't care if we're three, can we just read poems? Because like, yeah, it's a lot. And yeah, we like it to have poetry as sort of a place to heal. And like you said, with all the love that we always receive, we see you guys. Thank you for the comments on YouTube,
Thank
on
you for
all
the
of our
comments, yeah,
media
man.
platforms.
Oh yeah,
Um,
love.
yeah, it's an example of black love. So thank you for on behalf of Wesley, for the
Yeah,
support.
yeah, yeah. Thanks. I actually forgot to mention that, Steve. Just
Yeah,
speaking of Black
yeah,
Love,
no,
how you doing, Renee? Man, it's Friday. It's recording at just after 3. The weather's kind of weird where we are now. It was cool early on, but
it's
it's
windy.
windy. It's
It's
very
very
windy. Yeah.
yeah. And
Are
how
Warm.
are
you?
you?
Like a
Is
summer's
it
day
warm?
in no, it's like a beautiful summer's day. It started off very cloudy and so on, but looks good now, and it is a bit
Nice.
windy. I can feel the wind starting to pick up as well. But other than that, good day. I'm
Yeah,
good.
good
Thank
day and
you.
welcome. Welcome to the Art
Yeah.
Lexcia. We look forward to this conversation, about our journeys as artists, as creatives, and how we sort of heal through the work that we do. So yeah, man. Do you want to maybe just say hi and introduce yourself to
Yeah,
everybody?
yeah.
And
Just tell us to the listeners that don't know who's Rene Van Rensburg. Um, what do you want people to know about you? Remember, there's like we have a lot of just no pressure, but there's a lot of people watching.
Okay, so you guys know my name. I'm not gonna say my age though. It feels. I'm in my
Okay.
I'm in
That's
my
fine.
30s, early 30s. But anyways, I'm a creative. I've known Wesley for about 25 years, 23, 20, yeah, about 23
Long
years.
time, man.
Yeah, and I write as well. I don't generally share share my poetry or post it or whatever, but I have here and there. I'm a creator. In fact, I've got my sketchbook in front of me right now. So while I was waiting, while I was
Awesome.
waiting, let me doodle a little bit. Art is wonderful. It's true. You know, it just transports you to out of your headspace. You know, um, I was thinking about this the other day. I think when I was in matric and in my art class for my final, I did a painting of a bald eagle, and you know, as dramatic as artists can be. I think at some point I had all of this, you know, you go through the motions, whatever, and I was like, I hate this painting. It was absolutely beautiful, I'm gonna admit, but you know, it got to the point where I was like, I started tearing it up. And you know, people ask me like often, like, oh, but whatever happened to that painting? I was like, it's gone. I did it often, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
but
to have.
art is truly it's being creative is the most thrilling, and I think it comes from such an authentic place, you know. If ever you want to know who someone is, um, look at their art, who they are deep
Yeah,
down, and
yeah,
how
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Let me actually ask you this, so we can go on this. On the you mentioned something about tearing up. There's actually organizing. There's actually a full on concept. It's constructive. There's a word for it. There's a theme. We actually take
yeah,
it to work. You tear it up and you sort of rearrange it and stuff. There's actually uh, Camille actually does similar stuff to that, and she
yeah,
also does uses. I think we spoke I think an episode few weeks ago, and she also does a lot of some of that stuff for healing. So she also uses art as a form of and you mentioned there that art is also or creativity, because creativity is very broad. It's in cooking, music, listening to music. I mean, it's been almost 4 years since the COVID thingy happened. A lot went through a lot of people. As a just as a human being, how do you channel? Yeah, because like I mentioned off air about like they monetize Black Love. So how do you take? And I sort of want to get in there, but we'll get there later. How do you take your? What do you do with your anger? What creative? I mean, you don't have to be. It is a personal question, but you don't have to get too. Maybe that's sort of a double standard. But anyway, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I write, man. I write. I do. Like there's so many ways that I channel my emotions. You know, I think you kind of know my life story, kind of, and you know, I've been through a lot of trauma in my life and that, and I find that it's very soothing. Hence, I was saying being creative and that sort of thing. And as soon as I'm not doing something creative, this is where the sort of how can I say, there's no release for the emotions. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing that I'm pouring it into and whatever. So whatever I'm not dealing with at that particular time it filters into other avenues of my life, you know. So I find myself a little bit more annoyed, you know, or a little bit more what is the word that I'm looking for?
Irritable.
Tolerant. I'm not very tolerant, you know. And
Yeah.
people and as a person, I'm I'm kind of I think, or I would like to think I am this way. I'm a very optimistic person, and generally very kind person, and so on. So like, when I get to that point where now I have no outlet, or haven't used an outlet, you'll see the other side of
Yeah. Sure.
So like during the COVID period, I mean, I must admit it was difficult because, also needing to get from place to place to kind of get art supplies and that sort of thing. It was difficult to access stores like that, Wesley, I think when we spoke in the first interview that we had, even talking about food and all of those sort of things, and that was the one that changed my life. So yeah, but COVID period was very stressful, I must admit, because I have 3 kids, and kind of getting them involved. But they've also become very creative, mind you, because I did use it as a kind of an escape. Okay, come, let's do this, let's draw a picture, let's make something, let's bake, let's, so yeah, I'm not even sure if I'm answering.
Siza, you want to say something?
I like what Rene's saying. I was going to ask actually, because she's a mom, like how she sort of uses the creativity to even raise the children. Because I figure right now we need creativity to raise our children, guys. We are living in a information era. Like these kids know everything. I think it's one of the challenges that I personally experience, but I wanted to see how old are your kids, around which age group?
Okay, so my eldest is 13, middle one is 8, youngest is 6.
Oh, okay, yeah, quite a range there. But I wanted to find out how, because when you say art, I know you mentioned baking and that kind of stuff, but for you, do you draw, do you paint, and do they sort of appreciate the art, when you observe? Do they engage it? Do
they completely get lost? I think a few weeks ago I went to my son's school and had a parent-teacher meeting sort of, and she'd taken out his books, and I looked at it and I was so amazed at what I saw, because I didn't kind of peg him to be the most creative, and I hope my kids don't watch this, but the most creative out of the 3, but it was so beautiful. He really puts thought into his compositions and stuff, even the things that he draws and that. And anyway, the eldest one is a writer. He writes poetry. He's a very rational thinker, and in the same breath, also kind of a little bit eccentric.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of me, my influence in the way that they see the world, allowed them to be very expressive, verbally, movement, whatever, obviously drawing and that. So it also helps in that, for us, or in the era that we grew up, we weren't necessarily allowed to be expressive and be ourselves, So it's important also for their self-development, that they know who they are, or that they are allowed to be,
sorry, just as a follow-up question on what you're saying with what Wesley was asking earlier on how you coped with COVID-19. Do you find that the internet helped? Did you find apps that, I don't know, Wesley, sorry, we're talking about what motherhood now, okay? Because this is interesting to me. Did you find apps online that you find, good for a young artist to consume? Do you feel like we still need more?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
What we do, or the youngest two, they don't really, they watch those videos on
Oh,
YouTube generally, right? I'm not sure who they follow. I'm not gonna lie. But obviously
yeah.
we on Pinterest as well. So we look at things on Pinterest. Okay, oh, this is what I want to do, or it really did kind of provide some sort of comfort, especially for the older one.
Mm,
I think we found a lot of things that was relevant to the way that he sees things and the way he thinks and that sort of thing, and the way he expresses himself, um, sports and that sort of thing, and then going and writing about it. I mean, he's got books where he's written his things,
wow.
during the COVID period and that. Um, yeah. Anyway, but this
That's
is how we did.
interesting.
I can't necessarily say they were really apps. I was on Pinterest before, and we just kind of carried on with that.
So
Um,
what you so what you're saying is that like YouTube was the main
yeah,
go-to, because
Yeah.
I mean I've noticed that with my like with I almost said my grandkids, with my nephews and stuff, like that's the go-to. That YouTube is
Yeah.
is quite a vicious
Yo, there's
because
a
my
lot of
one,
content.
yeah,
Mm.
my nephew that's grown up in Eastern Cape speaks with an American accent, and he's never seen, he's only seen the Eastern Cape, maybe a Western Cape and Gauteng and the Northern Cape, and he speaks with an American accent. He says water, and he says tomato. Like he wanted a
Yeah.
pinata. He said he wanted, and he said like the pinata, that bullshit that the people eat with the sweets and nonsense.
Yeah.
When did you ever hear that? Like, and like that kid is like he zones into YouTube, bro. Like
Yeah.
I've noticed he even when there's other kids, doing kids stuff, he'll like just fucking
Yeah.
crazy.
But
Is that a, sorry, see that? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's a thing for me, and that is why I feel like we really need to take over this place, this online space, because the content, um, and before the content, it's the language. I mean, my daughter, she's 6, she speaks English. Her Zulu is very shady. It's really difficult to get her to speak her mother tongue, and it's important for me because it's a part of identity, and we honestly just don't have enough content like for our young minds to see themselves, through the content that we produce for them. Because I know
mm,
that YouTube nonsense is too overwhelming, and it's sometimes like a drug. They just can't do without. It's really frustrating, and I just wish we were consuming more of black content because we are black people. Yeah,
It
that
raises
was just my thoughts on that, Wes. Yeah.
it raises just a night before you come in. Then I just wanna just as a, I mean, you are both mothers. Are you really concerned with the direction that this is going? As a mother, do you see it in your children? Like Siza, you were saying your daughter's struggling to speak. You're struggling to get her to speak Zulu. Is it like a genuine concern for you both?
I can relate to you saying that your nephew has this American accent. My kids, all of them do. Uh, I don't necessarily think that it's a YouTube influence, or what they're consuming on TV or whatever. I just think it's perhaps the peers that they have, and also the schools that they attend and so on. In terms of their language, um, that some of the time the sentence construction and the
Yeah,
and
kids don't pay attention to that.
we I really like, for me, from my firstborn, when my firstborn was I think
Oh,
about a year old, was
yeah.
reading. We read here, and we read. We like to read. you'll find one of us somewhere sitting with a book or whatever. We like to read. The younger too, not so much now and again, but like my eldest and I, like, we like to read. And it's also something I think in terms of the language and so on, you know, for us it's an Afrikaans issue, you know. Everybody does very poorly in Afrikaans, right? And I understand what you're saying about a mother tongue, but for us it's not a mother tongue. First, English is my first language, and it's their first language. I'm not so sure about the mother. That's debatable.
That's an interesting point.
That's very debatable. My parents are, I mean, their first language is Afrikaans, but like the instances that I can actually remember them addressing us at all in Afrikaans is very few and far between, you know.
Sure.
I can't necessarily say I'll force my child to understand Afrikaans. They understand when I start shouting in Afrikaans. Yeah, they understand. But like, you know, in terms of communication and that, I don't feel it's really an issue from our side. I would love for them to understand it because Afrikaans is a very expressive language. However, I don't force the issue. You know, it is what it is.
No, for sure. Yeah, but also I was just interested to like find out about your art. Are you working on any collaborations? Like, is there a special project that you're busy with, or
Siza, there's such a lot of things, right? When I say I'm creative,
it's a lot of things.
I do. Gosh, I sew, I bake, I cook, obviously. I paint, I make furniture,
Wow.
There are things that I do, you know, graphic designing, there's so many things. And it's kind of like, I'm one of those people that like, oh, okay, if I'm focused on this thing today, it needs to be just this thing. Otherwise, you'll find me, okay, like right now, I just said to Wesley earlier, if you had to see my creative space right now, you'd be appalled because there's a little of everything. Yeah, that way, you know, but other people will cringe and they're like, oh gosh, you know.
Yeah.
But I do a bit of everything. I'm not collabing with anybody at the moment. I've also just kind of reclaimed some independence from work. I don't know how to explain it. But I'm home now, so I'm trying to focus more on the creative side of things. I've started like a collection of sketches that I wanted to kind of post on my page when I have the opportunity to, when I'm done with it. It's in front of me right now, some of them.
Do you feel confident enough to show us?
To share.
It up to the camera?
No, actually, it's very graphic. This is just like, this is a doodle. It's not an actual, I don't know if you can see that.
Oh.
No, you can see it.
Okay, just pull it back a bit. Okay.
Hang on a sec. Hang on. Let me find another one that's a bit more detailed.
Yeah.
That's one of them. Can you see it?
Just pull it back a bit. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. Okay, that's lovely.
These are just these are basically, it's lines and everything else but there's a lot of them. Anyway.
Yeah, it looks like the new one. Wow.
And I've got a few here and there as well that I'm working on. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. It's been a concept forever. And I think like a month or two ago, and I was sitting at my desk at work and I was like, I'm bored shitless. Let me start. But yeah, that's just part of it. But not really. I've got a lot of other projects that I'm busy with. Like I said, I do sewing, I do upholstery and building from scratch.
Very much a Renaissance woman. Renaissance woman, is that the word? Yeah. In the early 90s, there was this big thing called a Renaissance man. That was like the white man thing. So, you know, we're reclaiming everything. So, Renaissance women.
That's great. This is the
But
same
what
as
I
me.
like about But what I like about what you say you do, you see, is the fact that with the kind of art that you do, it's also a skill that I think Black communities especially could really thrive on, like cooking. I think cooking is very important, what we put into our bodies. It can be healing. So if we knew how to cook good food, we wouldn't go to other fast food restaurants and keep making people rich who actually give us diabetes and all of that. I like that kind of creativity becomes
Mm.
an economic pathway as well, a way to get
Yeah,
money.
Siza, you've got a strong, you're making a strong point there that, like, as much
Yeah.
as on this platform we focus on a specific type of art, but creativity, I always think is important to know that it applies to 100% of everything. Like,
Yeah.
and cooking is a major thing. In fact, Caesar, we were talking about doing that episode on the cooking, and it keeps coming
Yeah.
up in
Yeah.
our conversations, and we want to do that. So we want to
Mm.
focus a bit more on that. I would
I
say
think
Yeah.
food.
we also touched on the subject in the first interview that we had, and I was saying to that like I'd gone back to being vegetarian
Yeah, I remember that.
and how I integrated it
I
And
into
remember.
so,
how we eat, you know, and what my kids eat and that, um, it's changed a bit from then. I've let go of some of it, as you can see.
Meat is good. There's nothing wrong with meat. I don't know
But
why people hate meat. Meat
no,
can give
I'm
anybody
still,
anything,
hey,
yeah,
meat is expensive and it's bloody and
but it's delicious.
hey,
But it's delicious. I mean, I don't know why people are hating on the nature. You're saying you tried the vegan thing. I I've tried. I can eat as a vegetarian for like full on week, maybe maybe a week and a half. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know this, and
seriously,
I
I
like
don't
good
think
food.
you know
I
what?
want to eat. If I smell good food, I want to eat it. I was like, oh shit, I'm like,
No, but I think you misunderstand. I don't think it's a case of like, oh, I'm not saying I'm completely vegan, but I do go through periods of time where I don't necessarily enjoy the taste of
really.
animal
okay,
protein, you know.
makes sense.
And I think that's just how I've been my whole life. I do have periods of time where I'm like I can't, um,
You're
and
like me.
it's not necessarily for everybody else, but like I feel really good, and also because I take my spirituality kind of very seriously. So like there are things that I cut out specifically for that reason. If I feel I'm gonna fast, I'm gonna fast, and I'm gonna cut out this for this period of time, then I do that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily like, oh, obviously sometimes you're gonna get a big steak in front of you and you're gonna salivate and you're gonna, if you want. And I'm not saying necessarily it's like every time I'm like this meat in front of me, I'm like, oh my God, how could you? But you're eating Adam right now, or sometimes I have that thing
Mm-hmm.
with that I can't, and I'm like, yo, there's a Peter's in there and Paul is in there, and
I mean,
it's
animals don't have souls. They don't have names. They don't have
you
animals.
know
Don't call each other names. And I'm sure if they did, they're not English. It might be some
Yeah.
other language. But anyway, point taken. Point taken. I wanna ask you this. Yeah, and I think so that we can wrap up for sort of now. We
Sure.
are moving into the festive season, which
Sure.
some people like, some people don't, some people, it's actually quite an interesting part. When you're saying, I mean, like what I thought about, I was even myself growing up over the festive season, kids binge eat more junk, so to speak, more sugars and salts and stuff like that. And also, I think, yeah, everyone has a different opinion on how the commercialization of the festive season has really become a big thing. As a mom, do you watch your kids' diet over this period? Do you focus, or is it just like it's been a long year for
Nobody does.
everybody? Crazy.
Can I just say that like during this period, I don't watch myself either. So there's no
Exactly. That's what I'm like. Who does in December? No.
it's good food. It's good food for the next 2 months, friend. Like well, until the last day of December this year. Good food, and maybe the first of the next year, and then we broke for 2 months,
Yeah.
and then
we broke. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we wish we kept the chicken bones from December to make broth in January to eat with the cabbage and the rice and the whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I also feel like there's a limit to the call it woke culture. Personally, I don't like that word, but I find like being an African, or being a centered, or being at one, being a very spiritual self. There's a balance between everything. These days, I think they just force everything on you, because I've actually noticed with ads and stuff like that, they actually these I would say the counterculture is forcing their narrative, and they're sort of competing with I would say the indulgence of the festive season, which is for the consumer, it's confusing, and I think it's pretty fucking evil. But yeah, anyway, it was we are into the season. Siza, we're doing some cool stuff tomorrow with Deep Soweto. I hope it doesn't rain, so we can have like some cool videos, some interviews with some of the artists. That's gonna be a lot of fun. We're also nearing, just on my side, we're also nearing 100 episodes. We were thinking of doing another greenhouse session type of jam, maybe something else. We'll see. It's in about a few weeks time, but that's a lot of fun. And yeah, to everybody that's been with us on this journey, thanks, man. It's quite cool. Yeah, and that covers me. Caesar?
Can I say?
No, thanks.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, please.
About this time of the year, I think Wesley, when we spoke earlier, we were talking about, you get to this period of the year where your body is now that it's no moeg now, ne? You're tired, right?
It tells you.
Like I was driving and thinking about this. We work the whole year. To get to this period of the year, right? And we exhaust ourselves so much. And then we save at the end of the year to have this bonus, and then for it to be blown like this,
That's the thing. And the sales are not also good. Everything is low. Everything is on sale. It's like tempting the people on things that they don't really need.
And it's like this loop, man. It's like we do this here in, here out,
out every year.
You get all worked up like, hey, December's coming, need new kits, need new this, need new that. Everything needs to be new. And we're going to the new year with a new mindset that lasts maybe for, okay, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this. It's we try and go into this renewal cycle, and then we just land up next year. This time we're chasing the same shit.
Same shit. That's why people who's listening to this podcast, we know better. We know better. Remember, we are Pan-Africanists. We do push the balanced life journey. And remember, if you want to spend money on art, if you want to spend money for the festive season, try and spend it on art. Some of the writers, some of these artists, would appreciate
it's a good
that.
investment.
It's a superb investment.
I'm proud of where you find yourself right now. Like we tend to not take any notice of our achievements in the year. Like you got this far. Like adversities, obviously, it's
like keep saying we celebrate ourselves. Yeah, keep saying that. Yeah. And we celebrate ourselves. Yeah, you are right. You are right.
To. Yeah. No one else is going to celebrate it for us. We need to do it ourselves. Yeah.
Celebrate ourselves. Yeah. So thank you for celebrating your time with us today. It was such a short episode. I knew you were too cool to like say, no, I'm busy, or,
that was really cool. That's Black Love.
Yeah, no, that's Black Love. Thanks, Rene, man. It was really cool.
Guys.
No,
Thanks for
thank
coming
you,
to me.
Rene. And we
Siza?
wish you all the best. We wish you
Thank
all
you.
the best with all you
Likewise,
do.
you guys.
Please gather the courage to share your art, you know, if you can, but send the cookies also if you can. We'll enjoy them. But thank you for your time.
I
And
will.
guys, remember to subscribe, comment, and keep on showing the love because we love you right back.
One
All
love,
right.
people. Then I'll chat
One
to
love.
you on later the day via WhatsApp. No?
Peace out, guys.
Salute, man. Sir.
Cheers. Stop recording.